Today we're going to talk about wrist mobility. So if you sit at a desk all day, you want to make sure that or if you work on a computer all day, you want to make sure that your wrists are nice and limber. You might, if you've never done these exercises before, you might be surprised at how tight you feel. But believe me, a lot of people go through that. Just keep doing these exercises daily or every other day, and you will notice a difference. You will start to feel your wrists and your forearms open up a little bit more. So the first thing I'm going to do is interlace my fingers, and let's do the wave here. So do about 10 waves in one direction. You might hear some clicking, that's okay. And then change the direction and do 10 in the opposite. Okay, just getting warmed up here, just sending some blood flow to the area. So 10 in one direction, 10 in the other, shake it out. So what I'm going to do is go super widespread with my fingers. I want to try to make a L with my thumb and first finger, coming down in hands and knees. I want my hands directly under my shoulders, fingers nice and widespread. Again, I'm trying to make an L between my thumb and first finger. And what I'm going to do is just take nice, slow little circles here. Most of my weight is in my knees, so I'm not dumping my weight down into my wrists. So go super slow. I'm going to try to hit all the points of my fingertips on my circle. When I find sticky points, I'm going to go slow and exhale. So you want to make sure you're exhaling when you feel the tension to release any stress and tension on your wrists and forearms. So do 10 circles in one direction. I don't know how many I've done. And now I'm going to reverse and do 10 in the opposite direction. So I try to do wrist mobility daily because I do a lot of work with bearing weight on my hands. So push-ups, planks. I'm practicing the single arm push-ups, so that takes a lot of pressure on my wrists. And to make sure that my wrists and my elbows stay healthy and mobile, I try to do this daily. So after you've done 10 in one direction, 10 in the other, now I'm going to turn my fingers towards my knees. So here's where things start to get a little bit sticky. If this is too intense, I'm going to try to kind of press down into my fingertips and roll through to the base of my wrist here. If this is too intense, you can just focus on one at a time. I'm trying to aim my middle finger towards my knee here. And then you'll do circles just like this, same thing as before, but as you circle back, here's where you feel the tension. You want to make sure your shoulders are away from your ears, so you're creating lots of space in your cervical spine. So here's my exhale breath. Take an inhale as you circle around in front. And then here as I circle, trying to hit all points of my fingertips, I'm trying to keep the base of my wrists down on the mat. So if you feel that your wrists pop up like that, then just try to limit the size of your circle. So you're only going to create the circle as big as you can with your wrists or the base of your wrist staying down on the mat. So again, you're going to do 10 circles in this direction and then switch, do 10 circles in the other. Don't go to pain. You might feel discomfort. Discomfort's okay. Pain is not. So try to remember the difference or try to understand the difference between discomfort and pain. Okay, so we're not going to, ouch, I can't handle this pain, or if you're sweating profusely, then stop or limit the size of your circle. Okay, so now shake that out. Interlace your fingers, do the wave a couple of times in one direction and then in the other. So now I'm going to do what's called bulldog and seal. So I'm going to take my hands, my fingertips pointed away, and then I'm going to turn my fingers in and plant my hands down, pack my shoulders, and I want to think about squeezing my triceps so my elbows are straight. And then just go back and forth. So wrists face each other, then fingers face each other. Each time I'm trying to pull my shoulders away from my ears. See if you can get closer and closer with your wrists here in this position. Okay? You can kind of go side to side. See if that helps loosen things up. You can do little circles here. And you don't have to hold it for too long. You're just pressing up and planting back down. Okay, so now we're going to do the ultimate of ultimate. So do a couple of wrist circles here, changing directions. You want to make sure that you're getting blood flow to the area. I'm going to take the top of my hand and put it on the mat in front of my knee here. So again, I'm trying to point my middle finger towards my knee. Ultimately, you want to be able to do 2 at a time, but if this is too intense, you'll just focus on one hand at a time. So here's what it looks like when I do 1. I'm going to place my hand on the mat, making sure that the base of my wrist stays on the mat, and I'm going to circle my elbow pit forward. When I get to my end range here, I pull my shoulder away from my ear. So I took my other hand and I'm gently holding down my hand so that my fingers don't pop up. Okay, so I want to try to press my thumb into the mat as well. So all my fingertips are pressed down into the mat as I circle my elbow pit forward, pack my shoulder down. Here's my exhale breath. So inhale as you release, exhale as you circle your elbow pit forward. And then here's what it looks like with 2 hands. So my fingers again are nice and widespread. I'm going to circle my elbow pits forward, pack my shoulders down. So inhale, exhale. So I'm not doing circles. I'm just doing some elbow rotations. Okay? So my elbow pits point forward and I pull my shoulders away from my ears. Okay, so shake that out. You want to do about 10. And then I'm going to make a fist. So I make 2 fists. Hands directly under my shoulders, and you can come into a kneeling plank position. So in a kneeling plank, all I'm doing is I want to see a diagonal line from the crown of my head to my tailbone. So if I was to come into a plank, here I am in a plank. So now kneeling plank, here I am, okay? So I'm going to try to bring the top of my, I don't even know what this is called, the flat part that I create with my thumb and my first finger. I'm going to try to bring that space down onto the mat while pushing down. So I'm not dumped down into my shoulders. Here's my exhale. Then I come onto all my fingers. Now I'm going to come into that space where my pinky and my palm meet the mat, pull my shoulders away from my ears. So here I'm at the top. Take an inhale and then exhale as you come forward. Always pushing down into the mat to try to be as elevated and weightless as possible on your wrists. And then here, pull your shoulders away from your ears. Okay, so I try to do these daily to make sure that my wrists stay nice and healthy so that I can support my weight. I can do the things that I need to do. And if you have any questions, just let me know. Hope this helps.